out is almost like a lure, because they are astrological tarot cards. I don't actually use them, we haven't got time, with us being limited to half an hour, but they actually get people interested.
They catch the eye.
Yeah, exactly, and they are, I mean, I can use them.
That's what people are looking for, isn't it?
Definitely.
Or they give a reason to, like, if this to that, nobody's going to go up to that, nobody's going to go up to that and read what it says.
Well, what you have in front of you now on the screen is your birth chart, which I presume you've never seen before.
No.
And it means nothing to you, am I right? It's just a nice, pretty picture.
Yeah, I can do that.
So I will try my best to explain it to you and take you through it and bring out the highlights and the potential. The thing to remember about a birth chart is that no matter how old you are, it stays the same throughout your life. And it shows the potential that you've been granted with at birth. And often, you know, this potential can be hidden. I mean, you're relatively young, but people twice your age can sort of sit down and have the birth chart done, and I can tell them things which they know damn well in their heart of hearts that they should have done, but for whatever reason they didn't do, you know, because we've all got free will. They might have married the wrong person who held them back or whatever. And it just gives you a damn good indication of whether you're on the right path, whether you're with the right sort of people, etc., etc., etc. So, we'll start with the very basics, otherwise we'll be running before we can walk. You know, presumably, that you are a Sagittarian.
Yes.
But that's presumably as much as you do know.
Well, yeah, so much.
Here is the...
I happened to mark the sun shining up. I forgot all that.
Well, the sun, the so-called star sign is the sun sign, and there is the sun in the sign of Sagittarius. You will notice that there are 4 other planets also in Sagittarius. The moon, which is the more emotional side to your nature and your intuitive side to your nature, is extremely expressed with you for the simple reason that it's in the first house. You see these numbered divisions, it starts with 1 and works around 2, 3, 4, right round to 12. Now, also on the CD, so that we can speed things up a bit now, I shall put on a document which explains exactly what all the houses stand for and other little bits of information. Because when a planet activates a house, the energies of that planet are reflected in that area of life. Now the moon, as I say, is your intuition, it's your emotions, it's your alter ego in many ways. And in the first house, this is the house of your outer expression, it's what people see. So despite being Sagittarian, they're going to see this strong Pisces link, because this is the sign of Pisces. Now the moon is exceptionally strong when it's found in Pisces. You presumably are well aware that you are highly intuitive, possibly even psychic. Do you know that? Would you go that far?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant, because that's what tends to happen when the moon is very pronounced as it is here, and certainly in that sign of Pisces. I'm just looking for other connections to see whether there's anything else that would bring this about. I think the 12th house, one of the things that you associate with the 12th house is psychic development. Now you've got Venus there. Now this is ultimately the planet of love. It's all to do with relationships, but it's anything to do with harmony as well. So wherever it falls in the chart, it tends to be okay with it. You know, it will be fine. It will ease the flow. So potentially, this is what I'm saying about that word potential, you see. You've got the potential to enhance the moon and make it even more psychic. However, until you are about 40, which is another 10 years or so yet, I don't think...
12 years.
12, yeah, well, I said about.
Close.
I don't think you've tapped into your full potential. You might think psychic potential.
I actually think there is more.
Do you find there's some sort of barrier, almost?
Maybe a little. It's maybe more circumstantial barriers, but now I'm starting to, this year, I started to focus. I'm going to start to use it more and more.
Yes.
And
that will free it up.
I think in the coming year I'm going to start doing
You've got a definite interest along those lines, have you?
I've set out friends that I'm going to make.
Well, good. Well, that will remove this barrier. I mean, I think barrier is probably too strong a word. It's just more of a general restriction, simply because the sign, which is on the cusp of the house, is Capricorn, and that is the sign associated with Saturn. Saturn and Capricorn just delay things until the time is right, you see.
That's what I feel, because I wanted to progress a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, and I just couldn't find them, and now I feel like friends are finding me.
Right.
And now
so you're drawing them in?
It's as if you know, I'm at the point when I'm sort of ready to do it, because of like, over the past year, I've actually developed my more sort of analytical, rational side.
Yeah.
And I feel as if that's important to progress, because otherwise I might have went too far and too carried away.
Well,
so now I've got that, I can then, as if I'm now allowed to move on.
Would you actually, ultimately, would you like to do something under that umbrella, that psychic sort of umbrella? Would you like to do that as a living, as your main job?
I mean, I would definitely consider it
because it's in the chart. The potential for you to do that is most definitely there, and it's dead easy to spot when you know what to look for. The true psychic planet is Neptune. That is Neptune. The 10th house is the ambition career house. You've only got the psychic planet in it. So the potential, this is what I was saying at the very beginning about the potential. You could go through your life and never tap into that. You could just keep doing ordinary, conventional sort of jobs, which is fine. But you're missing out on that huge potential. That is suggesting, whether you do it as a full-time vacation or not, that is strongly suggesting that the gifts that you've got, these true, genuine psychic gifts, ought to be utilised. And that's up to you to do what the hell you want when you want to do. Let me tell you something else, because I've shot off on a bit of a tangent here. I've not stuck to the basics. Have you heard of the rising sign?
Yes, that's what I meant when I said.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the rising sign is Aquarius.
Yeah.
Now, when I tell you that this is a sign which is totally unconventional, so for you to do an unconventional job would again be part of your character. It goes with the flow. The more you work in and when I say work, I don't mean literally work, I mean just carry on your life in unorthodox ways, you know, not the run-of-the-mill stuff. The more you do that, the more you're tapping into your true outer nature. So the more I look at this chart, the more it is almost meant to be following this line of stuff that's under this roof today, you know, all the psychic, holistic, astrological.
So would you say I tend to be, would you say I'm actually going down the way that it wants me to go? Maybe not, more or less, anyway, I think I'm being...
The thing is, we've all got free will. Yeah. The older you get, you will find yourself drawn to whatever the chart's potential is. I tend to find people who are about in the late 40s and 50s, almost every single one of them is what I call following their chart. They don't know they are until they have the chart drawn up. People of your age, maybe not. You're still experimenting. You're still trying to find there. But it sounds to me as if you're being put on the right track.
It wasn't until I was 23 or something I started to... started to develop. Before then, nothing really happened. So,
which is, like I said, there's that barrier almost, that holding it back, you see, until the time is right, which is probably a good thing. But, I mean, what do you do for a vacation? You're not by any chance a teacher, are you?
No, working I'm a support worker, so I work in health and social care.
Right.
So community support, where we support the disabled.
Yeah, well that does actually make sense. Because of you having such a strong moon, for the simple reason that it is in the first house, anything in the first house is classed as a very, very strong planet. The moon is all about caring and nurturing for other people, so that is very much being brought into your vacation, so that's fine. Did you find when you first left school and you sort of started going out looking for jobs, etc., that you hadn't got a clue what you wanted to do in those early days?
What happened when I first left school, I'd decided I wanted to continue the study, and I went to college and then university, and I chose to study computing.
Right, well that goes with the chart because it's Aquarius, you see. Anything to do with technology is Aquarius.
And so I went down that path, and I got my degree, and I started for the honours.
Yeah.
I got my degree, but then after that I couldn't find work. I couldn't find proper employment.
Well,
I struggled for about 2 or 3 years.
That is absolutely typical of people who have got Neptune in the 10th. It's alright me saying this is the psychic planet, and therefore because the 10th house is the house of vacation, it would be 1 and 1 makes 2, therefore you should be doing that sort of a vacation, which is fine, but it is also the planet of confusion, so it confuses the issue. You don't really know exactly where you should be going, or you didn't do anyway.
Well, I tried, but then I just couldn't get anywhere. So for 3 days I was stuck, and I wanted to, and then I ended up going to one about this area of the country, and that's when things started to develop, and I felt my life started to roll more.
Now that's one area that you've picked up on. The 9th house is extremely strong in your chart. This is the house of Sagittarius. You are a Sagittarian anyway, and as you can see, 2 other planets are also in the 9th house, which is going to strongly bring about these Sagittarian traits, which are teaching and travel. Well, you've obviously done the travel bit by moving away from Scotland down into Leicestershire. That is probably a good thing, because you've instigated this travel part of the 9th house.
I was in Leicestershire, I don't think I ever said.
Are you not in Leicestershire?
Oh, that's right, I did say that.
Yeah.
I wrote it down,
yeah.
They picked that up, so...
Oh no, I've not got it from the chart, I've cheated.
Yeah, because that's been observed.
Yeah, exactly. But notice that the planet of the 3 planets, okay, you've got your ultimate sun there, which is your true self-identity. So anything of a 9th house issue, the main thing is higher education. That's why I said, oh, you're a teacher. This chart oozes teaching, training, the sort of acquisition of knowledge and passing it on to others. Absolutely uses it. If you've missed your vacation by the time you're sort of 60, you've not done anything along the lines of teaching or promoting your knowledge in any way, you have certainly missed out on a major bit of this chart. It is ultra strong with that in mind. Uranus, being the one nearest the cusp, is always the strongest, the one nearest the cusp, and that is the planet, the Aquarius planet. This is your ruling planet. It's the most important planet in the chart. Let me just explain how that comes about. Because your rising sign is Aquarius, the rule of astrology is that whatever planet rules the sign is the overall ruler of the entire chart, and it's Uranus. So the fact that he is there with the Sun and Mercury in the teaching house not only promotes that teaching side of things and the travel side even more, but Uranus does anything unconventional. So when we're talking teaching, we're not talking ordinary teaching.
Yeah, that's what we get to. I said, when you said teaching, did you mean that you'd be spiritual?
That would be brilliant. Because that would be bringing the unconventional side and also the psychic side of Neptune.
That's when that makes sense. I mean, ordinary, normal teaching,
no, there's nothing normal here. No, you don't do normal things.
So that's what they're going down now. I agree with
that. If you can steer it in that direction, you are absolutely cooking with gas.
I need to pick up my knowledge about a bit more. But
it's going to be so easy once you get going.
So I feel that I've got the point of view. So I've got an unique point of view, and I've got the point of view to give people to be a little bit different. Because I think a lot of people go down. It's almost dogmatic. People hold these certain beliefs, and they get stuck with certain things. But they need to sometimes have to look at it from a...
Yeah, I think you obviously, you know what you want. You're struggling just to get on that sort of ladder or whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't matter, because that's what the chart is saying you need. You're obviously on that line, so the energies will now work with you. And it's only a matter of time. Yes, you keep pressing the buttons yourself. That'll make things happen.
I started going to a spiritual church. I've been going to the Venus groups.
Yeah.
So that helps. And there's other things I've seen I want to try and go to. And that, so.
the 8th house next door is always a very, very important house, because at the end of the day it stands for quite a few different things, but the main thing that it governs is transformation, the ability for you to transform or reinvent yourself as and when it happens. Now, what you've got, the planet you've got in the 8th house is Jupiter, which is the Sagittarian planet anyway, so it's always going to carry that look, the look and optimism that you associate with Sagittarius and Jupiter is put into that transformational house, which means that it's not a dynamic planet like, for example, Pluto or Mars. If you got that in the 8th house, it would suggest that it's going to happen regardless, it is that powerful. Jupiter means that when things come along where you've got no choice but to adapt to the situation and reinvent your lifestyle, etc., Jupiter being the planet of luck and the planet of fortune, it will ease it, it won't be as nasty, and it will help things in your favour. It's also the financial planet, so it's good to have from that respect. I'm only mentioning this because there will be times, especially now that you know what you want, where you might have to force the issue, you might have to sort of take risks and that sort of thing. With Jupiter there, that will happen, because it's that sort of a planet. It allows for that. When you reach a stage in your life where you do need to enter a new chapter, to reinvent yourself, the good luck associated with Jupiter will kick in. Now, I don't know whether you can relate to that, because you might not have been in that situation, but certainly when it comes...
Do you mean the luck of when we get an opportunity that, and the time will suddenly rock itself out?
Yes. Once you get the ball going, and you can't just rely on the universe to totally do it for yourself. You've got to press a few buttons yourself. But once you do, because we now know exactly what you want to be doing, or the right sort of area, Jupiter expands on everything. So you might start on something quite simple, but as the years go by, it just boosts it, you see.
Well, for example, if they go to Expertus Touch and they're under up, they go to the Venus groups, and then they get to know people, and then they get better, and then they start maybe doing things, maybe they start doing mediumship, and then that would build, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely.
And then they go on to other things. So, I mean,
absolutely.
The more you talk to people, the more... So
Jupiter, more than any other planet, and therefore Sagittarius, and you are so Sagittarian, you've got 3 planets there, is the sign and the planet associated with luck coming your way. So obviously when you find the right sort of people, the right sort of opportunities, it snowballs.
Can I give an example of the past month? Because with my job, the month before I got like an availability sheet, and I say when I'm available. So if I wanted to keep a space empty to do something, I just say, I'm not available to work on this day or this time. So, but then for this month, I started going to, like I said, this Expertus Church, and I thought I'll just go to days for kids.
Yeah.
But it turns out I actually ended up going every week, even though I never asked it for it off. So as if the space kind of, even though I never asked for it.
Yeah, because you're working with the Jupiter energies, and it expands it triggers it all off, and that's how it will go.
Yeah, now I can ask for it off now. Before this month I didn't, and I still managed to get it.
Yeah.
Each week. Does that mean that kind of reassured me, saying, well, it makes me feel, well, obviously something wants me to go, and I've had to decide on it, and then as if something's agreeing with me. You know, I decided to do this, and they said, well, yeah, we agree. And that's kind of reassuring in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So the wheels are in motion then. You've activated what this chart is crying out for. The rest is just waiting for it to fully develop, which it will.
I think it's very early days, actually, because I feel like I'm starting the process.
Well, the thing is, even though the chart will very accurately portray what your true potential is, and this comes over so strong with the teaching side of things, the unusual, the unconventional side, and the psychic stroke holistic side all combined, you're obviously getting there. What it doesn't do, it doesn't time it. All we know is that that's the potential, that's almost a destiny, if you like. I mean, I'll tell you where your destiny lies, which certainly links into what you're saying. This little chap here, which looks like the headphones, this is the north node of the moon. It's a mathematical point. It's not something you can see through a telescope, but it's highly charged with the chart. And how the hell they worked this out all those thousands of years ago, I don't know. But wherever it falls in a chart is where your true destiny lies. Now, the 6th house, from a destiny point of view, is putting other people first, being of service to others. You're doing that now anyway in the role that you've got. But obviously, the more you want to expand on that, the sort of things you've got in mind, you are most definitely using that, you know, being of service to others, like I am now. So it is totally, you're on the right line. It's just reinforcing what we've already said, really. The only area of this chart, because of the way the conversation has gone, to do with this development that you're on, the only area of the chart we've not looked at, and I think we've got to do because it is such an important area, is the 7th house, because there's 3 planets there. And this is the marriage house. This is the house of serious relationships. And it gives you a pretty good indication of the sort of people that you are subconsciously attracted to, and it gives you a pretty good indication of what to expect. Now, before we go any further, if you are not in a serious live-in relationship, are you?
No.
Have you ever been?
No.
Right, so you've not experienced it then?
No.
You just had casual relationships, presumably.
And
they've never got that far.
Well, I tend to like, maybe as people I feel suddenly attracted to, but I never get to where I want.
Well, this is so typical Aquarius, you know. With Aquarius being your rising sign, and therefore Uranus being the ruler, it's going to have a lot of say in the matter. And Aquarius, Uranus, they just don't do relationships. Basically, it is the sign of sheer independence, which is why they've got this dogma attached to them of being so utterly detached. I know you're not a true Aquarian, but it is your rising sign.
Obviously, I'm after desire, but then this things just don't work out like maybe from the other person. Or it's not like actually that. It's just that it's like life is kind of moving me along.
Yes. Well,
because even if I don't want it to,
a powerful connection of planets here. You know, when you do find yourself in a serious relationship, bear in mind Leo. This is the sign that the red line passes through. This is the descendant, which is the relationship line of the chart. Now, do not think for 1 minute that the partners have got to be Leo. Like you are not Aquarius, but your rising sign's Aquarius. You're not Pisces, but your moon is Pisces. As long as something picks up Leo in their chart, then you have a strong chance of major compatibility. Without it, the relationships always lack something. I've just done so much research into it. But these 3 planets, I mean, 2 of them are in Libra anyway, which is the true relationship sign. What Saturn will do, I'm not at all surprised that you've never been in a serious relationship. I know you're not that old, because Saturn always holds things back. It's the planet of restriction. When you do get there, because it will eventually let go when the timing is right, then in kicks Pluto, providing you find the right one. That will totally transform both of your lives. Because that's what Pluto does. It's the planet of transformation. Mars is the one you've got to watch. Mars is a good planet from the point of view that it's one of the relationship planets. You can't mention Venus, for example, without mentioning Mars. The 2 go together. But it's ultimately the planet of war. So there's always that possibility that there could be a lot of over-assertiveness, a lot of aggravation, that sort of thing. The thing is, this is where we can only generalise, because every person out there has got their own chart, they've got their own nature, therefore they're going to react differently to you. And how Mars will fire up terribly in one person's chart, and it'll be arguments all the time, but in another person's chart, it'll just keep you under control, and you will keep the relationship under control.
That's really half the story, because it depends on another person.
Absolutely, and the trouble is with the thing we have to remember in astrological terms, whenever we use that word relationship, we are going outside the extents of this chart, because we're only getting one side of the story, aren't we? Your side. But it's worth remembering because the Pluto-Saturn connection, these are the two most powerful planets out there. Providing you don't make the mistake, as so many people do, of getting involved with the wrong person when it becomes serious, that is. Because Saturn will trap it. It's like pouring concrete over a relationship. It absolutely seals it. Which is fine if it's right, but if it's wrong, you're trapped, aren't you? You're trapped in a relationship, and then the Pluto transformation can't kick in. But obviously, look for the Leo connection. You would obviously have to check their chart, because they're not going to know unless they're into astrology, unless they are a Leo, of course. But there can be any sign. It's Leo the one that counts. We can come back to that at a later stage. I mean, I'm always going to be available if you find somebody and you think, oh, this is going the right way. Just get the details and I'll tell you the rest. But the majority of this chart is definitely pointing upwards. The red line that cuts on the 10th house, which is pointing upwards, these red lines are ultra important, you see, is the way forward. It's your midheaven, your life path, and it's surrounded by all these planets. And all ties in with what we've just been saying. Now what I can do, because we've still got a bit of time, what I can do if you want, what I said earlier about the unfortunate thing about a birth chart is that it doesn't time it. We can have a look at, we can bring your chart up to date if you want, to just do this year's chart. You get a different chart every birthday, which takes you through the year. And see if it's reflecting these sort of things. In other words, is this a good time, or should you still be just carrying on in a more conventional role for the time being? It will answer that question. Yeah. Shall we do that?
I think I was going to say
Right, so how it works, here is your sun, the all-important sun, in your case at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. It takes it exactly a year to pass through all the signs, month by month, and eventually on your birthday it will return to 12 degrees of Sagittarius. That is where we get the everyday phrase, many happy returns from. That's where it comes from. So if we do a chart for that exact moment when it happened on the 4th of December last year, that gives you your 2010 chart. This never goes away, but the 2010 chart just brings it all up to date to give us an idea of where things are going.
I think that's when even in December things started to move.
Yeah, because don't fall into the trap of thinking it just kicks in on that day. They blend in. You'll feel the energies well before.
I went to see a Buddhist and I did this meditation type thing called focusing.
All right.
And it helped and it was quite interesting. That's when it's a bit.
So obviously I'm not putting Glasgow in because you're not in Glasgow. I'm putting this in Shepshed. That's where you're living now.
That's very that's because I'm that's where I'm living.
That'll do, will it? Yeah.
Or do you want to put Leicester or Leicestershire?
Either. Well, is it near Leicester? As long as we don't put Glasgow.
Shepshed and Loughborough.
Is it Loughborough?
Well, Shepshed,
near Loughborough.
Shepshed is a very just outside Loughborough.
I'll put Loughborough.
We'll go for Loughborough.
Yeah, it'll know Loughborough.
That's when Loughborough. That's when things started to kick off, and I went down there, and I think that's where all the energy is. So I'll go for that.
4th of December 2009, which takes you through to your next all this year practically. As I say, they don't switch on and switch off. They blend in. Right, this is absolutely amazing. This is really, really what you want to hear. I touched on these red lines, didn't I? The fact that they are ultra important areas of the chart. The one pointing upwards is known as the midheaven, and if a planet sits on it, the midheaven being your way forward, your career path, etc. You've only got Saturn exactly on it. Can you see Saturn's little, they've all got these little knobs, look, where they connect to the chart, and you can see the black one exactly on the line. There is nothing more powerful than that. Saturn, well, all the planets are at their best in certain areas of the chart, and the area of the chart where Saturn does most good is there, on the midheaven and in the 10th house. So it is sitting exactly on the midheaven. It couldn't be better. Now the thing is, this is the planet that I've already said when we were talking about relationships, it absolutely secures, it holds it all together. So that's the potential for that to happen this year, to just seal whatever it is you're in, career-wise, and make the best of, is absolutely legendary. So the more you can do to make sure you're on the right path, he will do the rest. The beauty of it is we're dealing here with the planet which normally everybody hates, because he is renowned for restrictions and frustrations and delays, and there may be an element of that, because he's the master of timing. But when he's at the most powerful part of the chart, where he's at his best, it brings in the positive side instead of the negative side, which is the sheer commitment, dedication and responsibility. So if you could just find the right sort of thing that you want, he will then do the rest, and he will totally seal it. It's a golden opportunity.
So it's a case for me trying to expand my study and keep trying to find...
Yes, because opportunities will happen. He is not the energy source to create the opportunities. He'll just seal them when you get them.
So we started to do a lot of reading as well when I'm trying to... I've got lots of books I haven't read and I'm trying to go through them.
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
Well, you won't realise this yet because this is such a new chart, because we're only in February. The energies probably haven't kicked in yet, but if you look at the first house, which is your outer personality, and it's also the umbrella of the entire chart, holding it all together, you've not only got the sun there, which is your vitality, your absolute true personality, your self-identity, but you've got Mercury and you've got Pluto. Now Pluto, remember, is the planet of transformation. Mercury is the planet of the mind, meaning that your thinking is on overdrive, your planning, your communicative ability. All those three together, particularly Pluto, this is a time of mega transformation. And just in case you think, well, maybe not, it's backed up by the 8th house. If you remember what I said about the 8th house being the transformational house, you've got Mars there, that ultra-dynamic planet, but exactly on the cusp, and a planet is always at its major peak when it's at the cusp of a house, is the Moon. So this is a mega chart for sheer self-transformation. You can bypass certain chapters, you can accelerate your way through. You can really, by the time of your next birthday, you should have really seen some major development. And of course that's where Saturn comes in and holds it all together and makes something of it. I won't say, well, I suppose I've got to say it to get my point across. I'm tempted to not say, don't sit back and just let these enormous energies happen anyway, because I don't like saying that to people. I think it's always best if you make your own sort of destiny, you know. But it is that powerful, it would do it. But disregard that remark, because I really think you ought to press a few buttons yourself. Because it's so powerful.
I think sometimes when people go for readings, almost, especially when people keep coming back for readings, it's almost they think the cards are magic and they'll change their life, but all they do is read what we've got, and then it's up to you to go and do something.
Well,
and that's, and so they can do as many readings as they like. They can sit at home all day doing readings, but they have to do something in their life to make it change.
The thing we spoke of when we went through your birthday, I was saying that you've got this very powerful psychic side to your nature, which is courtesy of Neptune, the psychic planet. Again, he is pretty much on the cusp of the 3rd house, which is the communication house. So your communication is very much blending in with this psychic ability. You will find, as this year, if you haven't done already, you will find that as the year progresses that you're in a much stronger capability to give people readings and to utilise this psychic energy that you've got yourself through communication. Uranus is there as well, you see, the New Age planet.
The other thing I'm finding, I'm now getting given people to read.
That's fully understandable.
People at work they've kind of found out and they started asking me to give them clairvoyant readings.
Well, you're going to love the next bit, mate. You're going to absolutely love this. This is one of the most powerful charts I've seen all weekend, actually. Because in the 2nd house, which is your personal finances, you've not only got the destiny point, which is clearly indicating that the way your career path is going to develop this year is tapping into your destiny. But here we have Jupiter, which is the financial planet, in the financial house, the planet of good luck. So it's all going to start rolling once you've got truly on the track. You know, when I was telling you how these things work, how it gives you an overview of the year, it times it. You said, before this chart came up, you said, I think I know what's going to come up, I think I know what it's going to say. Did you expect it to say this, or were you thinking of a more pessimistic nature?
No, I can't remember what I was thinking actually. Because what was the question? What was the fun? I can't remember what you said. You said something.
What that made you say that?
But there was something you said that made me think. What we were going to look up. What we were going to actually look up, like.
I think I was just simply saying that.
I said I feel on the right path. I think you said you be on the right path. I think this
will show whether the time is right, or whether you've got to wait a few more years.
And I thought the answer was yes. So
this is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
There is another thing I've got to mention before we bring it to an end, because I can't go without saying this. You will have noticed that Venus is on the ascendant, the most important of all the red lines. Call them by the proper name, they're angles, the angles of the chart. You might say, well, surely Saturn on the midheaven is the most important. In your current situation, yes it is, because it's highlighting what you want. You want to move to concrete this situation that you're trying to develop, and that will do that. This is looking at things from a totally different angle. Here we have the planet of love elevated into the most important area of the chart. If you can get to your next birthday and say to me, there is no indication whatsoever of any relationship thing happening, you're not in a relationship at the minute.
No.
If you can still say that by the time of your next birthday, I'll eat my hat. Because Venus, the love planet, is virtually on the ascendant. It's going to definitely bring things your way. Opportunities for relationships, no doubt about it. So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But certainly from a career, vocational point of view, and the sort of thing you want to do, which will also bring in money, it is exceptional. Just try and keep calm. This is an exciting sort of time of life for you. You could get carried away with all this, you know, being a Saggy. Get stuck to either side. Yeah, and that's not really a thing to watch for. I'm just saying that because I actually think that the chart is that controlled that even if you did get carried away, it'd sort of pull you back online. I think, can you actually feel these energies? Do you feel as if something is really happening, starting to happen along the path that you want?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the last few years, but then I think things
well, it's been building up to this, I think. I think if you were to do the solar charts of, say, the last 2 years and the next 5 years, let's say a 10-year period, I think this is the one that's going to stand out when you know what to look for, like I do. This is the one that I would say, that's your year. That's when it's all going to happen.
So it's like the catalyst,
this is the one. So, make the best of it. Don't miss out on any opportunities. I don't think you will.
No. Did they mention about over here?
Does it mention what?
Did you talk about this?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're both 8th house. I know it looks as if the moon's in the 7th, but it's actually right on the cusp. And that's backing up this Sun, Mercury, Pluto thing in the first. The two are more or less saying the same thing, that this is a time of major personal transformation. Emphasis on the word major.
So remember the last set we were talking about relationships, and then they mentioned that here, is that basically just what they say here, but
why is it picking up in both areas?
No, something last year, the last chart, they said about the relationship, they were kind of over here, and they were saying
that one's for life. That birth chart is an indication for life.
So now, basically, what you've said is that all you've got to say about it? Because you've got
the relationship thing, it stays the same. I mean, you're not in a relationship, so it's unlikely that you've got the 7th house, which is in your birth chart, is going to get activated this year. It can happen, of course, but that's serious relationship, so that's probably going to show in a few years' time. This is getting a relationship going.
Yeah.
They're going to be, there's loads of opportunities.
That's the main message. It's saying there's nothing else to say. That's
basically it. I mean, there is another thing, to be fair. There is the fact that Venus is also the harmony planet, which sitting on the ascendant means that it's going to be a very harmonious year overall. There's not going to be an awful lot of aggression or nastiness, you know. It's basically...
especially when I think of what how people have to rock them, rock in that, so...
Yeah.
Harmony doesn't always quite come into it.
Well, you might find it's a bit different this year, with that sitting there.
This is service users and people are rocked up and that. It's not always harmonious. But I think I know what it means, so...
But it's amazing, really. To be honest, I didn't know what to expect, because the way that the birth chart had gone in, it was obvious you knew what you wanted, and the birth chart was echoing that, yes, this is what you should be doing. And we said, right, let's bring it all up to date. I didn't know whether it was going to say, no, this is still just a chrysalis stage, you're not quite there yet. But no, far from it. No. This is very much the catalyst.
Yeah, because I kind of feel that myself, because I feel like things are, like I say, like a couple of years ago, I felt I wanted to progress, and I kept looking, and I just
wasn't the right time, was it?
I couldn't find things, and now I'm not even looking, and things are coming to me.
The thing you must remember is that even though I've said all this positivity, because Saturn is exactly on the midheaven, there may still, in these early months, be an element of 1 step forward, 3 steps back, because that's how he works. He never rushes it. It's steady, and you get the feeling that things are not really going anywhere, but they are. Underneath it all, they most certainly are. He's holding it all together. And I don't think you can really make any major mistakes, because what I always say of these transformational issues in charts, with Pluto here and the 8th house, which is the Pluto house, being activated by Mars and the Moon, if you do make mistakes, the energies of Pluto pull you back online anyway, so they won't let you go too far. So you say you've got the planets actually working for you, they're all blended together, which it makes sense of the Venus harmony thing, it's holding it all together.
I do feel, obviously, people make their own decisions, but I do feel that things are helping me. Sometimes that I get, I do feel like it's not just like, obviously having to do stuff, it's not all me, because I feel like the energy or above it is like things that actually sometimes they live me, and they try and help what I want to do. They won't get in my way, they'll try and support. It's just,
that might be evident in your chart, actually, in your birth chart. I couldn't remember if there was anything in the 11th house, and there isn't, because that's a friendship house.
And I find this interesting that this birth chart, a lot of the planets are up here.
Yeah, well, that is moving forward.
We went to the currently and they went down here.
Apart from the all-important one. That is, well, this is more you. It's focusing on you and your ability to make money. You as a person, you're going to shine a lot more. That's literally the sunshine. People are going to see this. I mean, people who've never met you before will see you in the light that you'd like them to be seen. Somebody who can offer something, It's a strong chart. It's a very strong chart. And we know that the time is indeed right for you to move on along this line you've been looking for. You will find now that we've set the seed in your mind, reinforced what you want, you will find, I wouldn't say straight away, but as the year progresses, things will start happening. We've lit the blue touch paper, so to speak. I'm a big believer in that. It's almost like hypnosis, because you've got the energies there in your subconscious. This brings it all to life. So, I'm going to have to move on. Oh God, yeah, look, 43. Never mind, we're not that busy today.
I think we've got.
I think we've got to the stage where we've covered it anyway.
It's a bit complex. I have to go over people.
It's incredibly complex. This is why I insist on putting the charts on the CD, so that when you do listen to it again, at least you can look at what we're on about. It helps it go in more.
So I'm not a simple person.
The fact that you've got Aquarius rising will automatically make you intrigued by anything like astrology. I've done a bit of research into this, and of all the people that I've met over the years that have really taken it on board and said how much they're really into it, if they're not Aquarians, like you, they've got Aquarius very strong in the chart. It's the sign which goes with this sort of thing more than any other.
But quite a general interest in all kinds of things, you know. I had an interest in the kind of...
Well, you're bound to have, because of all this lot in the 9th house, the knowledge house, you see. Your Mercury, remember, is your mind. So you're taking on a vast amounts of knowledge, but the more unconventional, the better.
Also try and go conventional sometimes to try and support non-conventions, like we mean up in quantum physics.
Yeah, exactly. Anything which is not the run-of-the-mill.
Because I feel that everything comes together anyway, so the more you know, regardless of what it is, then you should be able to piece it together. If it's correct, like, you should be able to take like natural science and place it together. Things should make sense. If they don't, then obviously there's something wrong. It's like creationism. When there's something like, when we've got something that's obviously one, then obviously the belief system, I mean, we're not completely one, it's definitely partly one, so things can change. So they have to like always try and don't ignore the more sort of humanistic, rational side, and that's what I've been trained. I thought I've been doing that last year, and I feel like, you know, I can use that to help me make sense of what's happening. Because I tend to feel I go by what I can see, what happens. I can go by what I know. Like, if I do something and then I get a result and think, okay, I can see that, but then I won't make an assumption of where the information is coming from.
Right.
Like somebody say, like, you know, a lot of people like mediums or psychics might talk about the spirit world a lot and say, oh, it's spirit, and to me that's an assumption, because there isn't an objective, and that's what I experienced it myself somehow. I can't see, in the moment I can't see an objective reason to know for a fact that's where it's coming from. That's an assumption. You're assuming the information's come from there. You can say, oh, I get the information, I can see this, and it's come from somewhere. But they can't necessarily say it's coming from spirit, or, to me, a lot of people make that as an assumption.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way I'm trying to go down on things.
Right.
So I'm quite, a little bit different. But I'm trying
I like the word different.
I try and be the bridge as well, because, like, I can sort of talk to the, you know, because I won't, sometimes it's the two opposing sides, like we've got the really sceptical side and we've got the really spiritual side, and I think
well, that's a good thing.
Too far gone on one end, and I'm trying to be more in the middle.
Yeah.
And I can talk to both of them.
Exactly.
Talk to them in their language.
Yeah.
And then sort of.
Oh, I like the sounds of this. I could go on forever with this. But we can't go on forever.
Anyway,
I'll stop this anyway. So I'll post this to you, and you'll be able to listen to it again with the charts, and it will make a lot more sense second time round.